Guys, in this video, we are going over the law of attraction for athletes. We're going to be going over universal principles and how to apply them as an athlete. So if you're an athlete or you just want to have better performances in sports or really anything that has that kind of nature, athletic kind of nature, then stay tuned because this is going to be perfect for you. What's up, guys? It's Dave here from HeartSpace, where we are releasing videos every single day to help you to live life in your way. And for me, that's being able to live life in a free way from your passion, from your heart. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and bell icon down there to not miss any of the content that we release. Now, again, like I said in this video, I want to go over the law of attraction for athletes. It's just something that's not really talked about much, and I want to give you some ideas that may seem a bit counterintuitive, but will absolutely help you become a better athlete, to improve faster, whatever athletic activity you're doing, whether it's a sport, whether it's something else. And you can use these principles time and time again, and I would recommend using them every single day to improve these areas. So guys, the first thing to understand with the universal principles is we don't get what we want, we get what we are. And so in order to see how that goes, most people do it like this. They think that they have to do certain things to become something. And yeah, maybe that'll work, but that's going to take a very, very long time. You are not going to receive something until you become it first. And this is counter to how most people, especially athletes, like to move. So the usual paradigm is you have to do something which will give you something which will allow you to be something. It's called the do, have, be paradigm. But what we want to do is actually reverse this to the be, do, have paradigm. So that means you identify as something, you will then do things from that foundation, and then you will have the things that someone from that foundation has. Let me give you an example. Let's take someone who wants to become a professional athlete. Here's what most people do, is they first see themselves that in their physical reality, they are not a professional athlete. Okay, so physically I'm not a professional athlete, so my identity right now is not of a professional athlete. So they're going to come from the do, have, be paradigm. So they're going to start doing certain things, but from this identity of not being an athlete, in order to hopefully have certain things that will help them to be an athlete or a professional athlete. Well, that's why a lot of players do not become professional athletes or don't even get close. They give up way too soon. The ones that actually get there either just have incredible levels of motivation to get through that old paradigm, or they start to learn to reverse the paradigm. And that is the be, do, have paradigm. And so what they start doing is they see themselves as the thing they want to be right now, and they align with it and they feel it. They're not being delusional, they actually feel it. Because you have to remember with the universal principles that it doesn't work in past tense or in future tense. It works in present tense, right now. You will receive back to you what you are right now. Not what you are in the past and not what you are in the future, but right now. And so you need to align yourself with the feelings of the thing that you want right now. So let's say you want to be a professional athlete. You need to embody the identity of a professional athlete and actually feel it right now. And so why you want to do that, despite whatever the physical evidence is because once you can actually embody that energy of a professional athlete, whichever sport it is, and actually feel what it's like to be that, you will then start moving automatically like someone who is that. So now you're being it first, and what does a professional athlete naturally do? Well, they do the workouts, they eat the right diet, they sleep at the right times, they do recovery, they have incredible mentality. You're going to start doing those things naturally when you feel and see yourself as one right now. So that's probably one of the most important elements of using the law of attraction for athletics, is you have to see yourself as it now. So in the comments, I want you just to write out the phrase, and this is to help you remember this because it's so important. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. Put that down in the comments so I know you're paying attention, so that you're participating in this video. And again, by putting that down there, you are helping to rewire your brain to believe in these things, which are going to help move you along. And again, participating in the video is way more powerful than just mindlessly watching it. It's going to help you remember this stuff. So again, it's not what you want that you get, it's what you are. You get what you are, not what you want. So again, write that down below. And that's why seeing yourself as a professional athlete, if that's what you want, is so important. This is why visualization is so powerful. Something I tell players all the time: don't visualize yourself, playing in the way you see yourself now. I want you to visualize yourself playing to the best of your ability. You could even look at someone else and look at that professional player and visualize yourself playing like them and feel what that's like. And because your brain can't tell the difference between a vivid visualization and what we call reality, you are actually going to start embodying and feeling what it's like to play at that level. I know it sounds bizarre, but it's true. And there's so many studies to back this up now. So if you can imagine it, you can bring it into your reality. And that's why when you visualize, you don't visualize yourself playing averagely in a sport or doing something averagely. You see yourself doing it to the best you can possibly visualize, and even try and go beyond that. And when you do that, you will start feeling right now in this moment, not in the past, not in the future, but right now in this moment, what it's like to be like that. And the more often you do that, the more you will identify with that thing. And the more you identify with that thing, the more actions you're going to take from the identity of that thing. And that is the law of attraction for athletes, guys. If you can see, feel, and live as that right now, your physical reality has to, by law, eventually meet whatever it is that you're feeling. And so it will have to equate, it will have to become the equivalent of however you see yourself. And it works every single time. So if you can see yourself as that thing you want to be and feel it and experience it right now, the feelings of it, the energy of it, it will have to manifest physically at some point. Guys, I want to leave you with one other thing that I think is incredibly powerful. It's from a book called The 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he goes over something specifically for athletes in the end, which I think can be very powerful for you. And I'm gonna read out the quote to you. And basically, if you can start performing like this from this place, you're going to notice much more credible results. You're going to notice a lot less struggling and a lot more effortlessness. But let me read it out for you here. So I'm just going to read it as a quote, and I'll explain what he means. So if you have any questions. So here it is. For example, in an athletic event, your thoughts are on overpowering your opponent, being better than another, and playing and winning at any cost. The entire muscular structure of your body is actually weakened because thoughts of force weaken you. On the other hand, if in the midst of an athletic event, you can keep your thoughts on performing at your highest capacity, on using your inner strength to muster the energy to be as efficient as it's possible for you to be, and to have great respect for your God-given abilities, you will actually be empowering yourself. A thought of force requires a counterforce and a battle that weakens, while a thought of power strengthens you, since no counterforce is called into play to consume your energy. Power thoughts energize you since they make no demands on you. And so what Wayne Dyer is talking about there are power versus force thoughts. You have certain thoughts that require force. These are thoughts that usually are directed towards overpowering someone, being better than someone else, using force to overcome someone else. But what happens when you do that? When you apply force to something, we know Newton's laws, we know the Newtonian laws, what happens? Equal amount of force has to be applied back to you. But when you come from a place of power, no force is actually applied back to you. And you can read the book Power versus Force to get an understanding of this. This is actually a clinically proven phenomenon. This is not woo-woo. This is not some, crazy theory. This has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And I mean way beyond a reasonable doubt. Decades of research on power versus force and the potency of both. And force, when you're coming from a place of force, it weakens your body. It leaves you open to injury. It leaves you open to make mistakes. It leaves you open to not perform at your best. But when you come from a place of power, and again, what he says power is, he says if you keep your thoughts on performing at your highest capacity, on using your inner strength to muster the energy to be as efficient as possible for you, to be and to have great respect for your God-given abilities, you will actually be empowering yourself. And so now you're not worried about destroying your opponent or embarrassing that guy. You are just concerned about doing the best that you can. And when you're doing athletics, you can come from that mindset instead of like, oh, I'm going to show this guy, I'm going to screw this guy over, I'm going to nutmeg him if you're doing football, or I'm going to tackle him so hard. Instead, if you're just focused on the energy of performing to your best, using your God-given talents to have a good time, to be in flow, to play to the best of your ability, you are going to perform so much better because the energy you're coming from is of power and not force. And so I'm going to leave that with you. And again, this is an actual proven science, and you can look that part up for yourself. You know, this is not some woo-woo thing. So I don't, you know, you can argue me that all you want, but I've already seen the research. I've already experienced it myself. So it doesn't really matter. Guys, that is how to use the law of attraction for athletics. Just a quick recap is first, again, identity is so important. The universe does not care who you were in the past or who you're going to be in the future. It only works in the present moment. So the way you see yourself and feel right now is what matters, and you need to align yourself with what it is you want. That's incredibly, incredibly important. And the second thing is to come from power, not force. When you're trying to force things, things are always going to be a struggle. You're going to get there slowly. You're going to have a lot of setbacks that are unnecessary. I'm not saying failures and setbacks won't happen if you're coming from power, but they won't lead to unnecessary ones. Or if you come from a place of empowerment and you think those thoughts and move from that place, you're going to do things more efficiently, faster, and you're going to enjoy the process a lot more. Anyway, guys, make sure you leave the comments down below that I asked you to do. Let me know any of your thoughts on this, and I will see you in the next video.